Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/slash stories, where OP's girlfriend got impregnated by another man. Let's begin. My ex had a son with my brother, and I don't know if I want to be in their lives. Posted by Reddit user Significant Ease.
A few years ago, I met my ex, let's call her Lou. We met through Facebook. We shared a sense of humor and we'd talk for hours sometimes and just hit it off. She lived in another city and we communicated via texts, calls, and social media. Just to clarify something, I got to be friends with her on Facebook that year after I'd found and connected with my twin brother, let's call him Mac, through Facebook. Mac and I are not identical and we have been raised apart all our lives. This will be important later. But anyway, my ex and my brother had gone to school together. I asked Lou out in November 2019 after we had been talking for about a year. I had gone through a very bad breakup earlier that same year and talking to Lou always made me feel better. I guess talking to me was the upside of her day as well, because it wasn't long before one of her best friends blurted out that she had feelings for me. I brushed that aside, thinking it was just a prank or something. I'm not used to getting told that someone might be attracted to me and I did not need the false hope, especially when I had begun to have feelings for her too. Lou confessed her feelings a little later, and then we would flirt and stay up all night to talk about everything and anything until I asked her out. The first month of our relationship was very rocky. Granted, it was filled with laughs and getting to know each other and attempts at transparency. But I guess it was the transparency that made it rocky. I learned from Lou that my twin was her ex, and I admit that should have been where I called it quits, but I did not. They were high school sweethearts. Everything about the start of their relationship screamed match made in heaven. He was her first everything. Only problem was he was a ladies' man. Mac cheated a lot, made excuses to break up with or dump Lou, slept around, but always came crawling back. Lou told me that a year before she met me, they had broken up for the last time and she said she was done doing the back and forth thing. That should have been my second warning. Stubborn as I was, I still wanted to make things work. Even despite the other warnings that would follow, like finding out how she flirted with guys she called friends, she explained this by saying it was how they talked to each other, or finding out my brother kept messaging her and telling her to leave me and go back to him, all while he had told me he moved on and was currently with someone else. I got so mad, I put my foot down and told her she was mine, and that he had no right to walk all over her again and come back expecting to be welcomed with open arms. So Lou and I stayed together. We had been making long-distance work since we lived in different cities. I lived and worked in the capital of the country we live in and she lived in another, but we trusted each other. A few months later we were on and off because I did not like how her male friends used to joke around with her, and I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend or the violent asshole. We stayed together, but I stayed off social media for a while. I only came back online when she gave her Facebook password to me to ward off this creepy guy who was messaging her nonstop. I made the mistake of checking her other messages while I was there and saw how she defended my brother's attitude and the many times he did her wrong. Brought this up with her and we had an argument about it, but those always ended with me accepting that, yes, they had history and I would just have to accept that. But around mid-2020 she ghosted me. She had spent the weekend at her dad's place. Her parents are separated, where it had rained almost all weekend. Weeks after that, she was feeling under the weather on Monday, so she didn't feel up to going to school. She was working on a diploma at the local college. When she said she was sick, I called her to make sure she was okay. She said she was doing fine and that her sister, who is 3 years younger than me and hates me, was taking care of her. So since my mom was a nurse and I basically grew up in a hospital and surrounded by medical staff, I asked her to tell me her symptoms so I could help. The symptoms she gave painted my umpteenth warning sign that she was pregnant. But I did not want to jump to conclusions, so I advised her on what her sister should do in the time being, but told them they had to go to the hospital tomorrow. Then I told her I loved her and hung up. Weeks go by and she doesn't call, text, or make any attempt to reach out to me. Her sister, who has the irrational hate for me, had taken over all her socials and mocked and belittled me every time I tried to reach out to Lou. On our 1-year anniversary, I sent a message saying I missed her and loved her and hoped we could talk soon and got a "can you fucking take a hint" as a reply. I knew that was from her sister because I was friends with the sister on Facebook and she was posting subtle things about me and mocking me. But then 26 days after our anniversary, I get a message from Lou's WhatsApp. She sent a paragraph and it's not something I was able to forget easily, so I can recall quite a bit of what she said. Essentially, she apologized for ghosting me and causing me pain. Then she wrote, "But I hurt Mac too. I won't be able to forgive myself for doing that to him. I couldn't see anything beyond the tears and the red, which was bad since I was with students from my old high school and was in the middle of a weekend retreat program that we ran for them. So I took a walk, yelled my lungs out, found a stone wall and put my fist into it until it was bleeding and 2 of my fingers had broken bones. For the next few weeks I tried to put on a brave face. I know some of you would read this and say I had just known her for more than a year, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I don't know what to tell you.
That's stupid! You're stupid! Stop being stupid!
It is important to note that the following month, December, I purchased a plane ticket for Mac to come over to the city I was in and to meet our younger brother and stay with our parents. So he was with us then. This is important for later. In mid-December, she messaged me on WhatsApp. I had deleted her number, but I never blocked her. The first thing she said was, "Baby, take me back." Then she went on about how sorry she was and that she made a mistake. But when it was clear I wasn't going to reply, she switched to bargaining with me. She said she wanted me to put a baby in her because that was all she wanted and that it would make her happy. On Christmas, she attempted to strike up a casual conversation after sending me a season's greetings. I was already numb by then and was at my nephew's birthday party and putting on the biggest smile I had for the kids. I decided to reply because I thought it was fitting for the season. We talked about anything other than what she did or said. But before I said my goodbyes, she said she missed me and that losing me was like losing her best friend. I shrugged it off and turned off my phone. On New Year's Day 2021, I was told by one of her closest friends who had become my closest friend, let's call her Rebecca, that my ex was not herself. So against my better judgment, I reached out to Lou and she told me everything. She told me how she cheated on me while she had spent the weekend at her dad's many months ago, about how she learned that she was pregnant the day she had gone to the hospital on my advice, and how she had a miscarriage around September or October. She never told me the name of the guy she cheated on me with because she didn't see a reason why I should know. But she did tell me my brother knew about the miscarriage, and that he had comforted her through some of it. I am still of the opinion that my brother was the one she cheated on me with. Regardless of this, I took her back. I'm stupid, I know.
Oh my god!
She would even ask me what was wrong with me and how I could be so understanding and that she was used goods. That last remark always made me tell her she was a fool to think I cared about that, because the truth was I didn't. In February, she surprised me by flying over with her evil sister. But when I thought I'd be spending more time with her, my brother ended up spending more time with them. This made me angry, but when I brought it up in March, she decided to end things. She said there was no point since whoever her sister disliked, the whole family would dislike. I'm going to do time jumps here, but hopefully everything I've written so far helps you paint a clear picture. Weeks after getting dumped, my brother Mac is spending less time at home. I cover for him but never care to ask him where he is or where he is spending nights. I had suspicions though, which were all confirmed when my cousins told me they saw him in a certain part of town, with 2 girls who matched the description of my ex and her sister. Then months later, Mac tells our parents that his girlfriend is pregnant. And mind you, my mother had known I was seeing a girl named Lou but had never had the chance to meet her. But they managed to meet her after my brother told them she was pregnant. I made sure to make myself scarce. Mind you, I'm the oldest of the siblings, and my parents had high expectations of me. The one expectation that was higher up on that list was that I would take care of my siblings and their families in the future. Our society is very big on these types of responsibilities. But at that point in time, I was seething with anger behind a happy smile, and only my little sister knew why. She knew everything. So she wasn't surprised when Mac could not speak to me or look me in the eyes, and I had to be the bigger man. 9 months later, my ex gives birth to a baby boy, and here's where karma decided to mess with me. The kid looks just like me. Some of you reading might saying, of course he would look like you, you're his uncle, and you're right. But from where I stand, karma was being mean to me when that kid ended up looking exactly like me. What's worse is my mom pointed it out, which caused my sister to interrogate me after, because she thought I would enable my ex to cheat on my brother. Lou has made efforts to reach out to me and start up a friendship again, but I have refused to reply to any of her messages, nor do I wish to acknowledge her as part of my family. Mac joined the police force and lives in a different city than his kid and Lou. And as hard as I try, even years later, looking at pictures of my nephew just forces me to relive all of that heartache all over again, and I haven't once been to see him or even met him. Am I the asshole for holding this grudge or whatever you want to call it for this long?
No, OP, I don't think you're an asshole for resenting them for this long, but I do think you're a spineless idiot for continuously taking back a cheater. Look, OP, call it a blessing because you're not the one stuck with her. She and your brother deserves each other. They're both cheaters and they're both assholes. I think their son looking like you is their karma, not yours. He will be the eternal reminder to them just how much of a piece of shit they both are. Expose what they did to you to every member of your family and friends. They don't deserve to be a part of it. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.